Well, welcome to Agents Without Borders. We are so excited to have Jessica Klikach with us here today. I have known her for, we talked about 16 years now, but I've been watching her journey. She's been in real estate for 4 years, which all of a sudden seems like a really long time to me because I feel like just because we've known each other forever, but it's really not when you're just getting into the business. And she has been crushing it. I've been seeing what she's been doing on social media. I had to reach out because I needed to know what she's been up to. And I know that she's going to be able to bring great value to everybody listening. Jessica is located in the Shuswaps area of British Columbia, which, if you know where Kelowna is, it's north of there. So it's lake country, there's skiing, there's outdoor activities. And what I find about Jessica is that she really seems to have work-life balance figured out in the sense that I can see she's having a lot of fun what she's doing. So she's having fun selling real estate and she's having fun in the outdoors, and we want to know all about it. So welcome, Jessica. Thank you for coming to our podcast today.
Amazing. Thanks for having me, Elizabeth.
So I think, can we just start a little bit off? Because I know when we first met about 16 years ago, you were doing property management because you actually did some property management for my husband and I, which was such a good experience. You were such a professional. I've actually never had as good of experience again with property management. Jessica and her partner were incredible, like incredible. You made our lives so much easier because that was before the internet was like a big thing, like VRBO. You actually had to like send checks, and like it was just, she was a business person through and through. And then we kind of separated. We ended up renting our place out full time, so it wasn't short-term rental anymore. And then we lost touch a bit. So tell us about your journey and how you ended up here today.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was really fun. That was a long time ago. And that was in Revelstoke, BC, which big ski town for those of you that don't know. And it was really coming on the scene as the new hot spot. And it really wasn't at a global level yet. And this was before Airbnb, before VRBO. And I actually started one of the first vacation rental management companies long before, and then also did licensed property management. So that was 12 years, ups and downs and all the way around, and then started scaling back. And it was during the pandemic when I saw this great opportunity to pivot. And all of a sudden, travel was weird. Everything was getting weird. Airbnb, was really changing the game. And I don't think in a positive way, personally. They're taking the control out of the property owners. They're holding the money. You can't talk to people. They were taking the heart out. And I'm crushed that that happened because I loved that business. But now we have, a totally different animal for rentals. And as well in BC, we have got really different laws when it comes to tenancy. And so I thought, 12 years, that was good. That was 12 years of tenancies and trees falling on buildings and sewer backup and negotiations and taking people skiing and, hosting dinner parties. And it was absolutely divine. And I found a way to make well over six figures skiing 5 days a week. And that was my business model.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, how do I do this?
Everybody's dream. We just were on a podcast before this, and we are talking about work-life balance, and Desi and I both were like, yeah, that's a myth, but not for Jessica.
Well, and you know what? I'm going to rephrase the term, and I think it could be in the wording. Okay. Because work-life balance has this like scale in your mind, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you need to have enough work, enough balance. No, 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 no. I say turf that concept and just create a lifestyle. And focus on your lifestyle, what you want your lifestyle to look like, and integrate your work into your lifestyle. Because before we started saying work-life balance, we always said, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Right.
So understanding that life is going to have ups and downs in it, wins and losses. You can have, like for me, I can work 80 hours a week. And people are like, that's crazy. And I said, yeah, but I'm also, out there with clients on the boat, seeing lakefront property. That's work, right? I'm also, taking people skiing and integrating, going to wineries and events, and that's still classified as work, and being emotionally and available by phone, but maybe on the golf course or someplace else. So you can create that integration into your life. And although, when we get later in the season, especially this time of year where I'm starting to scale my hours back a little bit, the phone rings, always answer it. That is the key to success. Always answer the phone. It's not hard. But no matter where it is, I can be on my road bike at 7:30 and I'll have always this earbud in. And I'm biking with my cycling partner, Jody. She knows this. I'll just put my hand up and it means I have a text message being read into my ear of what's happening. And then I can vocally text back all through my earbud. Well, I'm still out there having a great bike ride and still keeping up on business and still having a great time. So integrate it, use technology, integrate it into your life. And that way you really will never work a day in your life because you'll still be having fun at the same time. So I say change the concept.
Yeah. Change
I
your
love that.
mindset, change how you think about it. I love that too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that was a big thing.
So
And
then you got
the,
into real estate,
mm,
got into
yeah,
real estate, wanted to get
pandemic
houses.
was great. I had a great time. I didn't work for the first time in like my entire life. I started my first business when I was 11, and there I was with virtually no work, and it was
Okay,
crazy.
I need you to stop. What was your first business when you were 11? Like
What
what was,
every kid, cutting grass and babysitting.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't come from, a very wealthy background. So it was my single father that was raising me. My mother left when I was really young, and he was working hard, he was doing everything he could, and he made a couple of bad choices. So he was divorced twice by the time I was 11.
Mm,
And so I was really raising myself at home, and I was an athlete, and athletics are expensive. And
mhm.
so I knew he was doing his best, but I still had, equipment to pay for, and I always loved business. So I put myself out there and I went knocking on doors and I said, "Hi, do you have some chores you need done? What would you like?" And then I created my own brand, and then I started branding, and then I had a network, and then I started delegating. So then I hired a couple of kids, and then
So not just normal cutting grass and babysitting. You were
yeah,
like the boss.
scaling a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, scaling a little bit. But then, it'd be like I remember my Uncle Dave, he would say, he's like, "I hired you to pay the fence,
Yeah.
not Deborah." And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like, "Is the fence getting painted? Yes. Is it for the agreed price? Yes." So it was it was really good. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, but then I got to do my athletics and do what I really wanted to do. And so that's how that all started. And I studied business when I left athletics. I was a competitive athlete in biathlon, which is guns and skis, and archery and some other things. And when I left, and it was because of money, shockingly, because we have no carding for that sport in Canada. And unfortunately, women's sports back then, there was no money. You had to sink or swim. And I was like, you know what? It's been a good run, but we're gonna turn and pivot. And then I went to business school, best choice. I think anybody, if you're in your 20s and you're not quite sure what you want to do, just go take a 2-year business management program.
Mhm.
Learn about economics, learn about accounting, bookkeeping, learn about people skills, organizational behavior, personality profiling. Give yourself those life skills. Those aren't business skills, those are life skills. And you can take that in any passion you have going forward. So that's like my big piece of advice for anyone that's in 20 years old and is kind of like, I don't know what to do. Anyways, I did that. And then I went forward, and you met me, and 15 years later. Yeah, no, 10 years later. And I was your property manager, and then became a realtor, and after the pandemic. And that was a battle. I'm not gonna lie. And it's still a battle. It really is. I know we've all had our struggles. But it's kind of one of those things where when you rise really quick to the top, you get a big target on your back.
Yep.
And so daily, I face negativity. I just had a peace order put in place for an extortionist that was stalking me and harassing me by the RCMP. I've had other agents that, yeah, right. So, I mean, it sounded glamorous at the
Yeah.
beginning, right?
Yeah.
Boating and golf and hooray and skiing, right? But, you know, And I've been very, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm very open about the negativities and how to handle them as well as the positivities because it's important we talk about it.
Mhm.
And so I have a lot of complaints that go to our professional conduct committee for our board, very serious accusations, completely fabricated. But I have to go through the process of handling them and upholding my standards and proving myself that, you're kind of guilty until you're proven innocent. And now I'm on this new mission to change that. And now I'm really working, and I've asked other agents to come forward about their stories, not specifics, but how the process was handled. We need to make a change so that our bylaws and our boards can't be weaponized as harassment. And I'm sure everyone may or may have not had that in their career, but that's my next mission. Not just for me, but everyone else. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I was, as you opened that piece of the conversation up, all I could think of was, yeah, like when you're successful, you have a target on your back. It feels that way anyway, right? Where people are
Mhm.
like bring you in for things that I would never, hey, I'm not noticing what other people are doing because I'm busy working and
Right.
I stay in my lane, like stay in my lane, there's enough business for everybody.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's really frustrating, disheartening. And the part is, I liked what you were saying about how it feels like you're guilty until you're proven innocent. They drag you through a process that you're basically on their timeline, like whenever they feel like getting back to you, and then they give you a couple of days to respond to them, and then it's just more and more of the process to the point where, like, I actually just recently pled guilty to something because I just wanted it to be over. Like, I'm just like, you know what? Cool. I'll take down my social media posts. I'm guilty. Like, let's move
But
on. Like,
but that eats away at your integrity and your love
oh,
of yourself. And
it does. It does.
and every time we have to be through that process, it drags down our performance for ourselves, our clients, our families. It
Yeah.
has this. So yes, and I understand. I did that. I think it was 2 years ago. I had one complaint come through, and it was like, you can pay this fine. It was a couple of mortgage payments. It wasn't little. Take
Yeah.
this course, plead guilty, be publicized as a guilty party, or
Mhm.
you can lawyer up and go through all of this. And I was like, but where's the support for me from from our a board and a membership that I pay to be a part of? We should have support on either side. Yeah.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think we're going to pick that up later,
Yeah.
and we should definitely, go through that when we're not on camera and see if we can have a little task force in each province um
Well,
move
even I think
forward.
it's everywhere, right? Like Desi's
Mhm.
very similar things because,
Really.
when you're a successful, busy person, and
Hmm.
trying new things, you're willing to be innovative. You're, it's, and I also think because the market, and you girls jump in if you want, but like as like it's evolving,
Hmm.
we're learning new things as we go, especially with this social media thing, right? Like
Oh
it's just
yeah.
instead of a complaint and a fine and a board of peers reviewing you, it should just be a conversation. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you made this post, we think this about it, and then you can have like a conversation about it. And how would we change that moving forward or whatever, right? Like, you're right. You could talk probably for hours about it.
Well, and let's go. My last one was a social media post too. And there has been, when you talk to a lawyer, there's conversations about that. No, they can't actually govern your social media. That's not
Yeah.
something that falls into it. But also, while this post was posted, the realtor who made the complaint, nothing to do with the transaction, nothing, totally different town than what was happening, who had made the complaint. Um, I was in a transaction with them the whole time. They could have just said, "Hey, I noticed this post and this was my opinion of it, and I'd love to talk with you about it." Not a peep. And I was in daily communication. And I was like, "You could have just talked with me." Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like,
does that not spell harassment? That you would just go straight to an authority and get them to come in with their hammer on me rather than have a prof- professional conversation?
And like, what's the point? It's not like we're mean people. We're not doing things to harm people. We're just
No.
doing more business than them. And the hate, like the hate that they carry around every day. One of the gals here has like a group message. It's like the I Hate Desi Club, and they all text back and forth, and then she reports me every week. But it's like if they would just spend that much energy on something they love and
In their
like,
own business?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's support them in spending energy on their own business. Like encourage.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So how did
Totally.
you get to the top so quick? Like, what did you do?
Yeah. That's what we want
Um,
to know.
um, I know business. So I came in really strong, knowing how to write a business plan, and I identified the gaps in my market and identified the key aspect is always differentiation, right? You need to stand out. And um, I'm I love design and I love style, and I always did a lot of staging with
Mhm.
property management, right? I was the one that was like ironing stuff and like it had to be perfect. Because presentation really is everything in marketing.
Hmm.
And I do my best. And so I took that forward and I noticed no one was doing stages. Like there was toilet seats up and towels hanging off of rods, and it was chaos. The properties were present. It was a hot mess. I was like, oh, so I'm not only just going to fine tune it, but I'm going to create a blended staging program. So I went out and I bought some used furniture and hit Home Sense and got some sea cans, filled it full of stuff, accoutrement, glitter, lipstick, earrings for property. And that way, when I get a listing, I come in and I say, okay, well, the first thing I want you to do is pack because you're going to move.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if the listing isn't willing to start packing, they are not going to sell. And they will tell you that action, like, oh, we'll just wait till it happens. There is no momentum, there's no commitment to the process. You know right away, this may not be the business for you, right? Don't pour your efforts into it. Or sometimes it's a specialty property and it's going to be a longer sale. And we know that more and more now, right? As our market's a little bit slower, well, it is for me. So, anyways, I would go in and first of all, I dressed for the job. I'm not dressed right now, but I would dress, a suit, make sure that I put a lot of effort into my presentation personally so that they would have the confidence to hire me to present them because you're being a hired professional. So that
Mhm.
was key. And then once I presented myself, they bought in to me, bought into the trust with me. And then I would present their property. So pack this, move that, get rid of this, start junking, present. And I know like Elizabeth does that too, right? It's all about the presentation. And that's where you shine because this is sales, this is marketing, right? And for me, I have this saying where you need to evoke an emotional response. So when the buyer walks in, they need to have this, I
I
love
love.
it, right?
Yeah.
Then there's always, and if it's a couple, there's always two. There's the emotional and the rational, right? And then you got to
Mhm.
have everything prepared. You got to have your stats prepared on the property, your bills, your payments, when the roof was done, when all the things were done. So the rational person's like, look at all these facts and numbers. I'm also in. Right? So it smells good, it looks good, it presents well. The emotional ones like envisioning themselves there, right? They're into it. The rational one is committed, and that's how you list a property. Also, if you're representing the buyer going in, you want to make sure that you're satisfying those needs as well, right? So that you ask ahead of time for all those facts and numbers. A lot of agents aren't going to have it together. You're just helping them be better. You're helping them sell their house. That's good. That's collaboration. That's making things happen. And then, so you're satisfying that. So for me, it was identifying on how we were going to get to yes at the right property without any pressure, but creating that natural response, that natural emotive response, being like, oh, I love this. And then they're like, I'm into it. And I take a lot of buyers that have been, you know, lost in the sea of abyss of real estate looking for their next home for years, and I can get them placed in 30 days.
Yep.
And thank you. And yeah, so I think that's a very long answer to a very short question.
But I think it's so great because I think the problem with traditional real estate agents is they don't treat it like a business. They just say, well, I'm just going to sit around, wait for the phone to ring, and I'm only going to work when I want to. And like you said, always answer your phone. They never answer their phone. It's like they have a
Crazy.
listing and I'm trying to show it. And it's like, I want some like insider information, like give me the details, but you cannot get them on a phone call. And so I think that is like a huge thing. So anybody listening to this, like you've got to treat it like a business because it is, it's your livelihood. This is how your family makes their living.
Hmm.
Well,
I
I'd
love,
be very curious how many people get into real estate like you did and just like dialed in, looked for the gaps, decided what was going to work, treated it like that business and just went for it. And then are you finding it's word of mouth or how are people finding you? Was that the beginning? Was it like, oh, hey, this Jessica, she actually really cares and gets the job done? And
A
like,
lot of a lot of the business is, I went through 4 brokerages in 3 years, right? Like I just kept changing brokerages because my flavor of real estate wasn't accepted.
mm,
And so for me, I was like, I kept changing to try to find the right house to live in so
mhm.
that I could feel supported with my business. And until I found my house, um, now I've found my house, my business has doubled. So I
Wow.
think you do need to find your people and your house, and
Yeah.
people are going to support you and make you shine. And and the business grew really because I was just known as, you knew me before, Jessica
Yeah.
will get the job done.
mhm,
And you'll probably have fun doing it. She's, having a reputation of integrity and skill. You're bringing actual skill to the table. And that was what happened with referrals, plus being that strong online presence, which
Yeah.
is still overlooked by so many realtors. I know you have a really strong online presence, and creating that comfortability
Yeah.
with the client. I had not a client, but just a contact walk in, and we're talking about a different business. But she walks in and she's like, feel like I know you because I've seen your face so many times on social media, around town on signs and all that, and that familiarity. And I said, well, that's really good, but this is the first time I've seen your face. So I want you to share with me so that I can get to that same comfort level. And that means you did a good job as a marketing professional. If you're known, they know who you are just the second you walk in. That means you're solid. You've got a good business. And I live in a very small place. Let's just dial that in. My hometown is like 1,800 people. And then the
Very small.
surrounding area gets, a lot bigger, probably up to 100, but it's a teeny weeny little place. And
mhm.
so it's easier to grow in a smaller pond with fewer big fish. And I think it's easier to get that notoriety faster if you have the skills and you don't mind putting yourself out there. In the cities, I think it would have taken me a lot longer just because there's more noise, more going on. And for
Mhm.
me, because I was so persistent at the performance level, that's how it grew so quickly. And I wanted to sell 10 houses my first year. And that was my goal. And I was like, I'm going to sell 10 houses. And I think I sold like 44. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened. I was nauseous. I wasn't sleeping. I lost half my hair fell out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my
Oh,
God.
you got the stress hair release.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
now I have this laser helmet I wear
yeah.
every other morning.
Oh
Anyways.
yeah, I feel you. I
It
feel
works.
you. That's incredible though. I love that. Like what I was hearing is what Desi and I really connected on is sort of getting to that level in smaller communities is it's so possible, right? You just
Mhm.
work at it and like show the work, be consistent. And then I love what you were saying about how you found your community, because that's a big piece for us too. Just like finding our community where we can thrive. It like you don't realize that it's not working until you find something that's working, you know? Like it
So,
sounds like you made the moves quite quickly. Like I think you were a lot more savvy to it than, for example, I was. I was many years before
mhm.
I found my place and I spent so much time just feeling alone. Like, right, Desi? We've talked about that so often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to go anywhere when you feel like you have a target on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is finding your people, and that's how you're going to have the support to get through those harder struggles, like we were talking about earlier. And also, just emotionally, as humans, we're not always up here, right? We're
Yeah.
not always up high. We're going to go through the cycles of life,
Mhm.
love, loss, divorce, death, disease, just like real estate. Our
Yeah.
lives go through those too. And do we
Mhm.
have the people around us that are going to have the empathy and care to help us through that time so that the burden isn't only on our family, but our whole community and everyone around us to keep us above water, to keep us pushing through in one of the hardest industries, one of the most selfless industries where all of your gain is at the end. You put everything up front, everything. And it could be months, years until you actually have fruit.
Yep.
And I think that's a big thing, and a lot of people don't recognize that. So once you have that community and your people, your house, it just flows. Your energy changes. The laws of attraction start working in your favor. You're happier. Like finds like. When I was miserable, I was getting some pretty miserable clients, and
That's true. Yeah, that's true. We can all speak to that.
Yeah.
and now I'm happier, and like I meet with people, and we're having the time of our lives, and we're like, can you believe this happened so smoothly? This all worked out, and it was like, I'm like, I still can't believe it. I'm
Yeah.
like, it went so well. And I was like, usually there's some sort of road bump or hiccup, but once you hit your stride, I mean, it's not that there isn't going to be some struggle, but the
Yeah.
wins and the good starts getting bigger.
Yeah.
So I
That's
encourage
awesome.
anyone listening, if you're really not finding your people, you don't feel in your house, you owe it to yourself, your business, and your family to go start looking for your house. Yeah.
I think that's a great tip. Like ending off on that is amazing. I would like to know though, what if somebody was looking or just starting in real estate, what would be like two or three tips that you would give them to just kind of help them lean into what they're doing?
Um, Define your brand, yourself, and your top two or three things that make you shine above the rest. Um, don't copy someone, but ask your friends, family, and neighbors about your personality and why you're good at what you do. And remember, this is a leadership role as a realtor. So if you're not a leader and you don't feel comfortable in leadership, this may not be a good position for you. It does take a lot of leadership through a lot of hard things. So develop your leadership skills and then ask your friends and family, what really makes you stand out and different if they were to view you, and then amplify them. So for me, it was my design skill and my marketing ability. And so I doubled down on learning more about online marketing and more about Facebook, more about all of that so I could shine because I already had a strong Facebook before. But now I just learned how to do it better. And then learn your leadership roles, feel comfortable about having an aura of authority. You're going to get your business, learn how to be a leader in a room, and you're going to have a lot smoother time with your business and drawing people to you for one of the hardest decisions they're ever going to make in their life. You're going to be their rock and someone to lead on and guide them through it. So if you can have strong leadership skills, your business is going to do really well. And then the last one, of course, find your house. Find your family, your real estate family that's going to be there. And if you do those consistently, I really believe that anyone can shine in any market, because everyone's going to push you up and help you and be around you. And you're going to have that law of attraction working where great business is going to come your way, which is going to propel you further and give back. Be a helper in your community. Find selfless things to do in your community so that you're known as a helper, you're known as a leader, and that's what people want in a realtor.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think there were a lot of really, really good takeaways.
So
Amazing.
many. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and you said people can find you on Instagram. We'll drop your Instagram account in
Yeah.
the
And
comment
Facebook. I've
and
got a couple
Facebook.
different profiles.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. You can share everything with us and then we'll
I
make
will.
sure that people can find you, especially if they're going to the promised land of Sycamore. to buy or sell a vacation property.
Anywhere in the shoe swap you're looking
Oh
for.
yeah, the shoe swap. Sorry,
Yeah,
I keep saying thick and moose,
that's
but you're right. The
okay.
shoe swaps.
Yeah. Retire, relocate, family cabins, lakefront, all very
Life-
affordable.
Lifestyle. Well, thank you.
Thank you.